We've all been there. All year you've been training, watching and waiting, only to see it crumble before your eyes. I was shocked. I hadn't felt this defeated since I lost a buck my first year of bow hunting 9 years prior. When I laid in bed that night, all I could think about is how I could succeed tomorrow. I had to rebound. I had to pick myself back up. The next morning I shot a doe and recovered her. But even then, that wasn't the shot that I wanted to make. I did not get an opportunity the rest of the season, so then came reflection. I entered the 2016 season with a renewed mindset and a new mission. Right off the bat, I harvested a doe with great success on my first sit of the season. From that point on, I knew I was ready to go to the next level. I needed that confidence booster. From that point on, I waited. Then came the news of a warm rut during my long week of vacation. Temperatures soared into the 70s the first week in November. There was more than one occasion where I sat in the tree with pants and a t-shirt on. I knew the odds were against me, but I pressed on. Then it hit me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on one of those hot days. I found myself staring into the eyes of the buck that I was waiting for. He saw my head swivel in the sun that was beating down on me. Busted. Sometimes you sit in a stand long enough to see yourself detach a little bit. My desire began to overcome the real reason why I was there in the first place. I needed to step back. I had the chance to take 4 more days the following week to try and take out before gun season, so I took up on it. The week-long vacation I had prior, I thought that was the peak of the rut. I was wrong. I was finishing up some things at work, and all I could think about was the 4 days I had in front of me. At this point, I've already logged well over 100 hours in the tree. I've had plenty of counters and some really nice bucks, but nothing that made my heart jump. I had my best hunting buddy Jim with me. He had the next 2 days off, so he committed to those 2 days to film me.
November 10th, it's the peak of the rut. Things are finally starting to look up here, and I can't be more excited to get down in the stand. It just gets me going. You know, this is what I've been waiting for, passing up all those bucks. So I'm hoping that, I just get an opportunity tonight. That would just be awesome. It's gonna be gung-ho just to get to a stand right now. I gotta shower yet and get all my stuff ready, but tell you what, that's a thrill of hunting. That's what happens.
As I'm driving down there, I'm seeing shooter buck after shooter buck. I've never seen anything like it. It was November 10th, and I'm seeing these bucks in the field, and I'm thinking, man, no one's ever gonna believe me. So what I ended up doing is I searched high and low in my truck, and here I found my camcorder in my center console. For whatever reason it was there, I don't know. So I pull up my camcorder and I'm filming these bucks, and then I get to the hunt shack and I'm looking and I'm wondering, where's John? Well, John's running late. So I pick up the phone and I call John. John finally picks up, and as I'm talking to John, I look to my right, and here, 8 yards away, is about a 130 plus class buck. 10 point, just staring at me, 8 yards. I'm standing on the cabin porch, and here this buck's looking at me. I'm like, you are not gonna believe this, bud. So I take a video of that and I send him the video from the camcorder footage that I took and the video of the buck that I'm watching. And as I'm saying that, there's bucks chasing does on top of the hill above the cabin. To this day, I've still never seen anything like it. And I said, okay, we need to get you in the stand now.
There was a long talk between us that led to the decision to roll the dice on a stand we thought would be the best choice. We finally made it there.
It's November 10th. It's definitely the peak of the rut.
persistent with the stand this year. I'm very confident that it's the right spot to be to try and get after one of these big bucks. We got the rest of this afternoon set. We got about 2 hours here, but anything can happen. So, if nothing, then we're gonna come right back here tomorrow morning. Like I said, I want to be persistent on this stand. I just got a good feeling about it. We can see a lot of the area around here. So, all we can do is wait and be patient and hope for that opportunity.
And here, Jon, I see him with his hands up in the air. I see him filming this spider. I see him with his camera down, he's filming. And I look up, and here's this really wide, outside the ear, big body buck. And I tap him on the shoulder, I'm like, big buck, big buck. Well, as he goes to put his phone away from filming the spider, the buck picks him off.
I froze, and the adrenaline immediately took the driver's seat. There was a buck 60 yards out, staring right at us.
The deer runs. He was obviously afraid of something. And whether it was us or the snort wheeze, maybe he wasn't the dominant buck. For the body size, stature, and rack, you would think that he would be the dominant buck in the area, but he ends up skirting around us, and then he starts making a scrape. Well, we go through a call sequence and couldn't get this buck to move. Anyways, Jon ends up hearing a couple sticks crack down the logging road, and he looks over, and here comes this deer coming in. The deer starts coming closer and closer. All of a sudden, the deer gets wider and wider. The mass gets heavier and heavier, and I look at him, I go, Jon, you need to shoot this deer.
I trusted Jim's words with every hunter instinct I had inside of me, so I prepared to take the shot. He started to walk towards us a little bit faster, closing distance to about 35 yards in front of us, where I drew my prime. He stopped with his brisket right at me, and he froze, looked over his right shoulder, and stared at that buck that we had seen earlier. Judging by the direction that he was kind of heading, I had to let down my bow and readjust my sight to 20 yards, because it looked like he was heading towards one of my shooting lanes. After about 15 seconds, he started heading in the direction that I thought and wanted him to go.
Meow. You did it, buddy. You did it. It's a giant. It's a fucking giant. Oh, God. Holy Christ. That happened so fast. It's a giant. It's a giant. He's dead, though. Oh, wow. That happened fast. Dude, wow. He is wide, heavy. He's wide. He's a 10 for sure. Dude, hey, I'm so proud of you, man. Thanks, buddy. So proud of you.
The track job was long but rewarding. We found him piled up in the middle of the logging road, making for an easy recovery. Celebration ensued again. I had everyone around me that I needed. My dad, my Uncle Terry, and of course Jim. All of them knew all the hours, hard work, and most importantly, the passion that went into this hunt. They knew that this was really special to me, and they chose to be there with me that night. I couldn't believe it finally happened. Jim and I have been sharing hunting experiences for years, and this experience is by far the best yet. You know, it's hard to put into words, you know, the amount of satisfaction I feel right now, but at the same time, you know, the amount of relief as well. Just the rush of what's happening. It's like everything that you've done all year long just kind of flashes before your eyes, and it just kind of all fast forwards the moment that you're in right now with this in your hands. The best part, my favorite part about it, is who I was able to share it with. That's the moments that you work so hard for. The people that you're with, sharing that moment, sharing that success, sharing all that hard work with you, you know, that's what matters. That's what really matters. There's a lot of people that were in some shape, way, or form a part of the chase for this buck. You know, I like to think that my wife was a big part of it. I wouldn't be in this moment without her. You get lucky to have people like that in your life who allow you to chase your passion and allow you to, you know, do the things that you love. And you know, I can't thank her enough for her allowing me to do that. It means a lot to me. It really does.
This is what the Promised Land does. It promises to deliver everything that we live for. And it promises memories like this.